I've always been a fan of stealth games, from Thief to Thief 2, to Metal Gear Solid, to Dishonored 2, to the Gloomwood, demo. I also end up making almost every open world game I play into a stealth game. I've always wanted to learn how to program and make a game, ever since I took a Java programming class in high school and made a very, very shitty knockoff of Space Invaders. So, almost 2 years ago, I downloaded Unity, watched some tutorials, and started developing. And then I stopped. Between work and, a global crisis, I simply didn't have the time to dedicate to game development. So, actually, who cares about all that? Welcome to the inaugural devlog for my first-person stealth game, Steal from Gods, where you're a thief in Tang Dynasty China, trying to earn a dishonest night's work. When I started developing this, the first thing I wanted to nail down was the movement. Since it's a stealth game, I know most of the player's interaction with the game will happen through character movement, not combat. Clunky or unintuitive movement is going to turn players off immediately. At the same time, I wanted to emphasize the physicality of the character's motions. After all, moving will create noises that enemies can't detect, so it needs to feel solid and in the world. I based my controller on character movement fundamentals from the Unity Asset Store. It's really well documented and easy to modify, so I scooped out the parts I suck at, math mostly, and rewrote the rest. I'm using the new Unity input system, and in particular the scriptable object implementation from the Unity Open project. You should check it out, since it will allow me to easily update and add new inputs and input listeners later on. Next, I added crouch, which was pretty easy. Just modify the collider size and lerp the camera up and down. Lean was also easy, though later on I will probably go back and try to make it a bit smoother. I also added sprinting and, the bane of every game developer, ladders. This just required the ladder to check the player was touching its collider and standing in front of it. Then the player checks if they are facing it and pressing forward. If so, we turn off gravity for the player, set their momentum to 0, and then change the plane of their movement to be vertical, not horizontal. I'll probably go back and tinker with this some more. Dynamically grabbing, shimmying along, and climbing ledges was a bit more difficult, but I really wanted to get this right. I didn't want to use special colliders on predetermined ledges. It would be a lot of work to tag an environment that way, and I wanted to let players climb on any ledge they found, as long as it had room to hold onto and room for the player collider to climb onto. I created a ledge detection system based off raycasts from 2 ledge detectors, left and right, just above and to the front of the player. When the player tries to grab onto the ledge, by holding jump and forward, the ledge detectors raycast down a short length to see if there's anything there to hold on to. They then raycast forward the width of the player to see if there's room to climb up. Last, a third ledge detector, right above the player camera, casts a raycast to make sure the ledge detectors aren't inside a wall or some other collider. If all of these checks pass, the player grabs the ledge. Once the player controller enters the ledge climbing state, the player can shimmy left and right along the ledge. Pressing down drops you from the ledge, and pressing up makes you climb up the ledge, which gets even more complicated. I created a special cinematic camera that follows the player camera position and rotation exactly. When the player climbs up a ledge, the cinematic camera is turned on and goes through the animation. Then, the player teleports up to the new position, waits a fraction of a second for the camera to readjust, and the cinematic camera is turned off again. There's a few things I like to do to improve this movement, like letting the player turn around corners, but I'm pretty happy with this system. It's performant enough and flexible, though down the road I might convert this all to a Cinemachine. I'm also thinking about adding additional movement types, such as mantling and sliding, but I'll save that for another day. My combat system is still a work in progress, but I have the basics down. Right now, the player character is equipped with a short sword and a limited supply of throwing daggers. The short sword does more damage and can block enemy attacks, but the throwing daggers have a longer range and, in my opinion, just look cooler. I mean, come on. My plan is to add some non-lethal options such as punching, kicking, or knocking guards out with the hilt of the sword or something, but I'm not sure how much more in depth I want to take the combat system. Combat in a stealth game is fun and I want to give the players options, but I also don't want to spend too much time designing something that's not the core gameplay loop. Besides, you're not supposed to be a martial arts wizard. You're supposed to be a thief and avoiding, fighting. And then again, I do want to give the players the options to defend themselves and fight back against guards if they're caught. I mean, look at this. Wouldn't it be nice to get combat to feel even 1/10 that cool and fluid? I probably will build the combat system out later on, but since it's not the core mechanic for my game, as I mentioned, I don't think I need to spend too much time on it right now. Last but not least, I've added the most important mechanic for any stealth immersive sim game: picking up and throwing objects. And then I spent an hour picking up and throwing objects. Alright, that wraps up my first devlog. I felt a little awkward doing this, but I hope it was interesting. Next time I'll be implementing the enemy AI, detection system, and combat. Thanks for watching and enjoy the usual YouTube spiel. If you enjoyed this, leave a like. If you have a better way to enable ledge climbing, or have strong feelings regarding combat and stealth games, leave a comment in the comment section. If you want to see more, subscribe to my channel and follow me on Twitter. Thanks.